Good evening. Hello. I can't believe we're here. So I have been making these reading vlogs for you, and we got another one. I'm doing a thing, if you didn't know. Basically, the final book in the Throne of Glass series is coming out in October, and I am rereading all of the books before then so that I can be like fully prepared and immersed and ready for this finale. It is currently September 2nd at like, 1 in the morning, and I'm on these buddies, these two boys, 6 and 7? Technically 5 and 6? Basically, I made reading vlogs for all the other books in this series, so if you haven't watched them, go watch those. There are spoilers, so if you haven't read through Tower of Dawn, don't watch any of them, but especially this one, because this one actually is about Tower of Dawn. I'm doing a different thing for this one, actually. So if you don't know these two books, Empire Storms, Tower of Dawn, they're the next part of the saga. They come after Queen of Shadows, but they happen chronologically at the same time. It's kind of like A Song of Ice and Fire, if you've read that series. You probably haven't. I have. This was supposed to be a novella, but Sarah J. Maas is a crazy person and she turned it into a real long book. This follows like half of our cast of characters, and this follows like some of our cast of characters, and they go together very well. And you cannot, I repeat, you cannot read Kingdom of Ash, the last book in this series, without reading Tower of Dawn. A lot of people thought it was optional, myself included. I still read it and I realized, oh no, it's not. I'm doing a different thing. If you've been keeping up with me this year, I actually read these books already once this year. I reread Empire in like March, I think, possibly April, and then I read Tower of Dawn in April for the first time. So I've read this book twice. I read this book once. It's been maybe 4 months, and I'm reading them again. I'm gonna be reading them at the same time, simultaneously, together. The last time I read them, I actually compiled like a little reading guide, because they do happen at the same time chronologically, and I really wanted the option of reading them together. It's just cooler that way, and more fun, and like sometimes they get boring. So, it's just, you wanna together. Meld them together. I will be reading these simultaneously. There is a reading guide that I put on the internet. I'll probably put it in the description below. It's like sectioned off based on points of view and like events that happen. There's certain events that happen in Empire of Storms that are mentioned in Tower of Dawn, and so I kind of built the reading guide around those chronological things, big events. If you've read it, you probably know which ones they are. And so I kind of spaced out the points of view a little bit, so it kind of reads like a normal book, just not, obviously. And I haven't tried it before, so I don't know if it works. I'm assuming it does, because I'm awesome at doing things, but I still have just like no idea. So I'm kind of hoping that it works out well for me. But I'm super excited to reread Tower of Dawn, because I've only read it once and I absolutely loved it the first time I read it. So I'm just like so excited to get back into it. Here's to more suffering. Yay. It is Sunday afternoon. Well, it's not afternoon, it's evening. It's like 5:30 on September 2nd. And I actually haven't read that much today because I woke up late and then we went to church and then we had lunch, and I've been busy all day. Look at all the chapters I've read. Each of these is a chapter. Wow, amazing. Right now I'm about 8 chapters into Empire of Storms, and I'm about 1.5 chapters into Tower of Dawn. In Empire, Rifthold just got sacked and Dorian is escaping with Rowan. I'm super excited because now I'm in Tower of Dawn and they're gonna be like, hey, did you know Rifthold just got sacked? And Kael's gonna be like, I hope my son Dorian's okay. And I'm gonna be like, he is. He was hanging out with Rowan, so it's all good. During this reread already, like I'm literally like a chapter in, and I'm already just like, look at Sartok, look at him sitting there, look at Nesrin, who doesn't know she's gonna be married to the next great Kagan. Like, oof, I'm emotional. And also, it's really good this time because I actually know more about the Southern Continent and Antica, and like, it's really hard the first time you read it because the whole time you're just like, what is a Kagan? What is Antica? I don't know. And so it's really great that I can like reread it and actually know what's happening. So far it's been a great decision. It's kind of weird. It feels like I made no progress because I just keep going back and forth. Guys, I'm the same age as Kael. Oof. Literally, Tower of Dawn is such an important, beautiful book. Like, it's about healing, and like there aren't enough books about healing like both physical and emotional, and honestly mental, like wounds. Like there's so much healing in this book, and it's just so beautiful because everybody goes through some huge journey, and like it's truly a beautiful book. And I'm just like sad that there are people out there who are like, I'm not gonna read it, I'm just gonna get the plot points off of Wikipedia, because like I don't think I'm interested in that book. I don't think I want to see her like destroy Chaol, blah blah blah, whatever. I've heard many reasons. It just like pisses me off because like, listen, there are some valid reasons to not read this book, I get it, but there's so much else good in the book that it's stupid when people are just like, nah, I'm good, I don't need that. Like, you don't know what you're missing. It's just, I know you know because you've probably read it if you're watching this, but like, I'm just really bitter. Happy Labor Day. It is about 10 o'clock in the morning and I woke up an hour later than I wanted to. But it's fine. Last night I went to a party, not like a rager, but a party with people I didn't know, and I got home and I read a little bit, and then I got in bed to read some more, and I was just like way too tired, so I didn't read anymore. Right now I'm on page 76 of Tower of Dawn and 112 in Empire of Storms. It's really fun. Alid and Larkin are just now meeting and it's great. Nesrin and Chaol are having a time, and Irene hates Chaol, and it's just like, we're at the beginning of so many relationships and I can't wait to see them blossom in the next book. I just imagined Kingdom of Ash. That's unfortunate. Okay, well, I'm gonna read. Tower, especially now that I've read it, I just feel like I'm reading the whole thing being like, but imagine Kingdom of Ash, imagine what's gonna happen, and like, it's just really emotional. I have read this book going on a third time. I just read this book in March and I still found a thing that I did not remember. Why am I like this? The thing in question is mentioned in Empire of Storms chapter 12. It's right before Aelin and Aedion and Lysander go to sack the temple, and basically they're talking about symbols, and Aedion brings up the idea of the King's Flame. I think that's what it is. And I don't know if I just like ignored it. I think I zoned out because I don't really like this part of the book. It's like kind of boring. But it's something that I think will happen in Kingdom of Ash. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I think it will. Basically, the King's Flame is like this red and orange flower thing that like doesn't bloom all the time. It only blooms for like really good kings, apparently. And so I'm just like, obviously this would be the perfect way to end Kingdom of Ash. Like if it were in an epilogue, maybe. Have I mentioned how much I love Chaol and Irene? I would die for them. It really hurts me when people are mean about Sarah J Maas, because like, listen, I know she has her problems and like she hasn't always been a good writer of diverse characters, and like she writes about a lot of sex and like whatever, I get it, it's fine. But like, if you actually sit and read her books, they're just so powerful and good. Like, it's like when people said that Harry Potter was evil because it had magic in it. Like, no, that's what this is. It's like, because she hasn't written a lot of diverse characters and she hasn't done it correctly since the beginning, people are just pissed and they act like the rest of her books have nothing to offer the world. And it's not true. She has so much great words and characters, and there's so much emotion, and it's so positive, and I just like, it's like people can't see past the problems to see the goodness that is inside of it. Like, yes, there are problems, let's acknowledge that, but also, can we move on to the things that are actually important in it? Like, ugh. She dropped little hints. So I'm on chapter 15 of Empire of Storms, and Aelin is hanging out with Brannon in the temple, as one does. And she's basically asking him questions about Maeve, which is really stressful. But she wants to know if she can be killed. And Brannon is like, I don't know, no one understands her power. And then she's like, okay, but like, you were with her, you should know. And he's like, I don't know, but she feared my flame. She's not Vogue, is she? I hate this. The fact that Brandon and Elena don't know. What if Aylin knows in the coffin? She's guessed it. Oh no. She literally asked. And Brandon was like, nah, don't worry about it. It's fine. Kale's inner dialogue is so similar to Selena, Aylin, whatever, in Heir of Fire. The fact that both of them have so much grief. Like, he didn't lose anybody the way that Aylin did, but I feel like he has the same sort of grief going that she does. Like, hers is grief that, like, she didn't save Naemia, and his is grief kind of that he didn't save her. But he just, like, he feels all this pain for this stuff that, like, was his fault, but it wasn't, but it was, but also it wasn't. And it's just like, it's so interesting to see how deep that self-hatred goes, because I guess when I was reading Heir of Fire, I related a lot to Aylin this time around because she did feel like that darkness inside of her, and in some ways I can kind of relate to Kale's darkness, but I feel like his darkness is a lot more intense than hers was. Like, his is, I mean, they both have like extreme self-loathing problems. But anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. The whole point I'm thinking of is that, like, even though Kale and Aylin never were meant to be, like, they dated for like a week and then it was over, I think it's just fascinating that they're so, I think it's because they're so similar that they could never have been together, you know? Like, Rowan and Aylin are similar, but they're also like opposites in some ways. Kale and Aylin are like the same. It's about 9:45 p.m. I have been reading all day. I did all of these in Empire Storms and all of these in Tower of Dawn. So I'm moving and shaking. I don't know how many that is, but I'm currently on chapter 28 in Empire Storms and chapter 25 in Tower of Dawn. Oof. I don't look great. It's Tuesday and I really thought I had to go to work today, and then I woke up and my schedule had magically cleared. So I have another day off. I've been sitting in this room for like 1,000 years trying to finish this series, and I figure, what's life without a little adventure? So I'm gonna challenge myself to read like over 600 pages in the next like 12 to 15 hours. I really do want to go to the gym at some point, so I'll probably take a break for that later in the day. But this is gonna be like a full-out sprint to the finish. I'm gonna try and finish 2 books in one day. Last night I read a little bit more and I'm like 30 pages from halfway in Tower of Dawn. So Tower of Dawn is really close. Empire has a lot more to go. A lot more to go, but Empire's longer than Tower of Dawn anyways. Lorcan is loser. First of all, I love him, but second of all, talking about Maeve, she would never ally with such evil. Never be foolish enough to ally with the Vogue. Oh honey, you got a big storm coming. Listen. So we reached the part, Lysandra's big scene, and I just like, every single time this happens, I just get so emotional because of like the friendship and the teamwork and like everybody screaming trying to help Lysandra, and Lysandra's just like, all right, I guess I'll just take on these 3 huge ass wyverns and like hope it goes well. This scene always reminds me of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, the movie, when Harry is like facing the Horntail and Hermione like screams at the top of her lungs like, "You're one, Harry! You're one!" And it's like, God. It's just like that, except way more intense. Hello. Hi. It's been a hot second. It is like 7:30 and I ended up taking a little break for a few hours. I went and worked out at the gym, and then I did grocery shopping, and then I ate dinner, and now I'm back in the game, reading, having fun. This thing showed up that it can't be a coincidence, obviously. So anyways, they're talking about Maeve, and Fenris is like, nameless is the price of Maeve's allegiance. And I know Aelin gets like, she starts thinking about this. What if she has Aelin in her clutches right now. Nameless is her price is Aelin. What does that mean? I want the answers. Give me Kingdom of Ash. I just like really love Lorcan and Elide. And they're not together at the end of Empire, so I'm kind of sad. Oh my god, I'm so excited. Oh my god. I'm so excited. I know I just read Tower of Dawn, but like, this book, it's so pure, so beautiful. It is Tuesday night, right? Tuesday. Anyways, it's like 10 o'clock, 10:30, and I think I'm gonna call it a night because there's no way I'm gonna finish tonight. Right now I'm on chapter 41 of Tower of Dawn and chapter 54 of Empire of Storms, and I did the math, and basically, I think I've read about like 970 pages in the last 3 days. It is Wednesday night and it is about 9 o'clock. I read only a little bit today. I'm on page 508 in Tower of Dawn and 564 in Empire of Storms. I really thought I was going to be able to finish today, but I got sidetracked in the middle of the day after work and ended up not reading as much as I thought I was going to. Kale and Irene are in the desert with Hussar and the whole gang. In Empire of Storms, Ansel just arrived, so we're basically like on the downward slope into hell. And I was getting so emotional in Chick-fil-A when I was reading earlier because, you know, the Elide Aelin reunion is beautiful, and Lorcan and Elide, I would die for them. It's like 9 a.m. ish. I actually got up for once, which is a good thing. I don't have to work today, so like I said, I'll be spending the day reading again. Shit's still gotta go down, so I'm gonna finish today, but I'm still just like kind of sad. So I've been doing this reading guide that I made like, when was that? Like 4 months ago ish. I finished reading Tower of Dawn in April. So like May-ish, I came up with this reading guide to read Tower of Dawn and Empire of Storms simultaneously. And basically the process I did to do this was I literally went through every single chapter of both books and I did like a chapter summary with like the main details and like any big information that happens in the chapter. And then I went through and I like looked at each chapter summary and I kind of, I just organized it chronologically and based on the POVs and like what events happened, and I just like did my best to mesh them together. As I made it, I was like, I don't know, I hope this works, I'm not really sure, I'm just doing my best. And it turns out I did a really fabulous job. Like, I'm super impressed with myself. I found multiple times that I would read something in one of the books and then like the next chapter I read in the other book, it would like either mirror it or it would make some mention of like whatever information had happened, like not even just the main events. Like there was one moment when I was reading where one of them mentioned like a net, I think it was Tower of Dawn, they mentioned like the net that Erewhon had placed across the continent, and literally the next chapter in Empire of Storms, Aelin made a similar comment about the net that Erewhon had stretched, and I was shooketh. I was like, wow, I had no idea it was that good. But I say that because right now, Aelin and her crew are stuck with Maeve's armada. They're not fighting yet, but they're in that weird limbo where she's supposed to surrender and Rowan's like going from ship to ship. And so they're kind of in Maeve's clutches at the moment. And then meanwhile in Tower of Dawn, I'm reading the part where Nesrin is talking to the spider and the spider is telling her who Maeve is and like how terrible she is. And it's just like, it's crazy. I feel like it matches up really well, and I'm just like, I'm impressed with myself, but more than anything, I'm impressed that Sarah like made the timeline work, and like chronologically it makes sense, and the pacing, like she just did such a great job connecting these stories, even though like that probably wasn't her goal at the moment she was writing it. I think it was a good idea to actually read these together because it's so interesting. I just want Lorcan to get his redemption. I think one option Sarah could go is that Aelin somehow gets freed, gets away, and her power gets like restored somehow, and like she gets, you know, remade into whoever she's supposed to be. And Maeve somehow crosses paths with Erewhon, and like she defeats Erewhon. Maybe she's mad at him, maybe she just is like evil, and she like gets rid of Erewhon, and so everyone's like, oh yay, Erewhon's dead, we still got to deal with Maeve. And so Aelin's like, oh, I could still like forge that lock, but maybe it turns out that they don't even need the lock because she's so powerful. Or plot twist, what if she could combine her power with literally everyone else? I just think that would be so fun if all of them like got together with their bloody hands and like Guardians of the Galaxy, like use their friendship as power. Like, come on, man. But Alid made some comment that she was like, Maeve had to do all these things so that Aelin didn't have enough power. So I'm wondering if Aelin was at her full strength, could she beat Maeve? Maybe not. Possibly though. If she could like defeat Maeve, I mean, I guess the whole point of the lock is that the gods still want to go back to their other world, and it's not necessarily about defeating everyone. But I think the gods are an interesting thing too, because I just don't know if they know about Maeve. I think they do, and they're just either stupid or they're not saying anything on purpose. Or, I don't know, maybe Maeve is like powerful enough that she got to them too. But it's like, the deeper we go into this reread, the more it seems that the gods themselves are like actual characters. Because they like nudge everybody along, and everybody, Dorian I think made some comment, somebody made a comment where they were like, we all have gods like looking over our shoulders, like that cannot be a coincidence. And it's like, yeah, you're right, it can't be, because Sarah wrote this friggin' book. It is about 1:45, almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I just finished Empire of Stars. I still have about 100 pages left in Tower of Dawn, but I'm at a stopping point, obviously, because I just went through hell, and I think I'm gonna go make lunch and then hop right back into it. Empire of Storms, I think the first time you read it, it's like, it's so overwhelming because there's so much information and characters and like action, and so by the end of it you're like, wow, that was a lot. I'm not gonna think about that for a while. And so I didn't think I really enjoyed it that much, and then I read it again in March and I was like, oh shit, like I'm getting emotional. This is beautiful, like I love this so much. And even now on this next third reread of it, I'm just in awe of it. Like, it's such a beautiful book. It's not quite the same as Tower of Dawn or Queen of Shadows and Heir of Fire, but like it shows so much about like friendship and love and caring about your country and like stuff like that. This time around was fun because obviously we know that Maeve is a Vogue queen, and so the whole time she was here I was just like freaking out. The ending of this one and Tower of Dawn both kind of ends with everybody being like, all right, we're going north, like we are gathering armies, we are getting ready, we have so many people rallied behind us, like let's go win this war. And like obviously we have 900 pages to get through before we can actually like figure out what's gonna happen. And so it's not gonna like go straight into the war of being like that inspiring moment, but like the image of like just like everybody showing up on that beach being like, Aelin called and I'm here, like I'm ready to fight, let's go. She called in her life dead, I'm here to do it. And like even the ending of Tower of Dawn when all the healers get on those boats and they're like, all right, we're going, like this is it, this is war. Like it's just really fucking emotional. And like the more I've been sitting with this and the more I've been rereading it, and like I know I've been reading nonstop. I don't know if you realize this because I haven't filmed all of it, but like I have been in my room for probably the past like 5 or 6 days straight just reading by myself without anybody, texting Emily, and that's about it. No social media, that's it. It's been like an emotional roller coaster even though I knew what I was getting into. The more I read it and the more I sit with it, the more I'm thinking that like this is it. I was looking for another Harry Potter, this is it. And sometimes I think that this is actually better than Harry Potter. Wow. I look awful. Yikes. Okay, Hi, hello. It's like 3:30 and I finally finished Tower of Dawn for the second time. And I kid you not, I have not cried so much as I have cried today in a very long time. When I was rereading these books over spring, I like cried a little bit, but it was more just like that emotional, like, oh my god, I'm tearing up in Panera, like, I'm so emotional, I can't handle this, like, oh my god. And like, that's usually what I feel when I'm reading books, but like, literally both Empire and Tower of Dawn today. Mainly in Tower of Dawn, but like, even in Empire a little bit. I just like, could not catch a break, I swear. From like, the end of the book, like when Irene healed Kale, from like then on, like it was just like straight down, so many tears. I don't think I've cried that hard since Clockwork Princess, honestly. I bawled during that book. And that's it. That's the end of the reread. I did the thing. I literally started this reread in June. It is now the first week of September. I thought I was not gonna finish until like October because I basically just got stuck reading Throne of Glass for about 2 months. It's hard to believe I read Heir of Fire like last week. Is that right? I think it is. Time literally does not seem real. I swear I've been in this room of mine reading like all day straight for like 6 days, it feels like. I went to work one day and I went to church once, but like literally I've just been reading nonstop. I've read like probably at least 2,000 pages. I don't know if I can explain how much it means to me because like it's 8 books long, but it's so intricate. The characters mean so much to me, like the whole plot and like the emotional journey that the characters go on is important to me. Like it's so relatable, it's funny, it's inspiring, it's emotional, it's smart, it's female oriented, it's unique. Like there's a few things in Empire Storms that's kind of similar to other books, but like for the most part it's just so, it's in a league of its own. And even if you set aside like the early books that aren't quite as good as the later ones, like it's just and I think the rankings are as follows. In last place, Throne of Glass. Not a great book, but it started a good series. After Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, Assassin's Blade, Empire of Storms, top 3. So we have Queen of Shadows, Heir of Fire, and Tower of Dawn left. I think those are my top 3. Tower of Dawn I think is number 2. Like this second read has like pushed it over the edge for me. Like it's such a phenomenal book. I love the emotional like journey that the characters go on. There's really like, the culture is great. I love how she's fleshing out Nesrin and Sartok. Like I love the Cognate. It's so fascinating. I love the Rooks. I love how Kale like finally gets redemption, and I love the darkness that he faces. And like there's such amazing inspirational words that came out of that book that it's just like, ugh, it's so important to me, and I wish more people would read it. I pity the people who are not doing rereads before the finale, because this was like my 3rd full story read through, and there's still so much that you miss. Like even after reading Tower of Dawn once, going into this reread, like there was so much information that I noticed that was like put in the earlier books, that was even put in like Empire of Storms, that I hadn't noticed. And like you can't really notice until you read Tower of Dawn to get that backstory. But like it's so genius, and I wish I knew like more about Sarah's planning for it. That's why I'm kind of sad I'm not getting to go to a Kingdom of Ash event this time, just because like I would love to hear her brain talk about how she did all of this, because it's just like fascinating to me and it's incredible. I'm emotionally drained and exhausted, and I'm so excited for Kingdom of Ash. Thank you for watching. If you watched all my other vlogs, thank you for sticking with me. I know it's been crazy, and I know I've been really irregular about the whole thing, but hopefully you had as much fun as I did. And if you are just now getting around to the rereads or to this series or anything like that, I hope I was helpful at all, at the very least to get you excited. So next up is Kingdom of Ash. Whoa! It's like over a month and a half away. Fire. Kingdom of Ash is coming! Yeah. right, well, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye!